Hello, my name is Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations and welcome to today's live stream. I got some sleep last night, so I'm feeling great. I'm feeling really good. I got a really nice run of sleep. Things have been fairly hectic and chaotic for me lately, so I got home yesterday after spending 4 days at my mother's place as carer for her because she had a fall and is recovering. She had a fall about 3 weeks ago. But she needs 24/7 care, so we as a family are all taking turns of going and staying over there and looking after her during that time. So I was there from Tuesday until Friday, got back here on Friday, and then on Saturday had the Macageddon event, which if anyone watched that yesterday, thank you for joining. It was, from my perspective, not ideal. I couldn't see what I was live streaming most of the time. I had very little control over camera angles. There were all sorts of technical issues and it was pretty chaotic. And for that, I apologize. I didn't get a chance to welcome people or thank people for joining or thank people for being part of the chat or super chats and all that sort of stuff. So my apologies to everyone. If you did tune in yesterday, it really was not what I wanted. For some unknown reason, OBS is not giving me the option to actually type responses in the chat. Isn't that weird? I wonder what I've done. Not to worry. So I'll give a little bit of a summary about that in a minute, but I'll do the normal thing and first thank everyone for joining today. We've got Jack68K, hello there. Steve from Mac84, Charlie Gellar here, Thomas Armstrong, Gibbertronics, David Starbuck, Ascertain 20, Jared Burma, Frank S. I think I've got everyone now. If I've missed out, please jump in and say hello. And if there is actually anyone watching who is at yesterday's event, there was probably about 15, 20 people there, I'd say, something like that. I mean, I felt like Adrian, he's the president of the Australian Computer Museum Society. I think he felt like there were probably a few too many people in the room at a couple of times. We had a few strange shortages there yesterday, and I'm not sure why they were. And there was a distinct shortage of flux, a distinct shortage of solder, and a distinct shortage of power cables. So that was kind of an odd one, I thought. But on the whole, we basically had seven Macintosh SE30s. None of them were battery bombed. Recapped all of them. We ended up with, I believe, 4 just chiming, working beautifully. I mean, within reason, there wasn't time for any proper testing. We had one that had a sort of jail bar line. It still worked. It was still fully functional, but we were missing one line. So the way the SE30 works, is it when it draws the image in vertical lines, if you're missing one line, it's one kind of like data path or something from the video output, and it is usually sort of 2 chips in a little row or the VRAM. We got to change some of the chips. We didn't get a chance to change the VRAM. I was just running out of time. I had to come home. It was supposed to be 11 till 4. I didn't leave until about 6, so didn't get much time. Leo's here, hello there. J-Dub is here, hello there. The analog cap you want is a mouse apart. Yes, thank you. I did get that message, but as it actually turned out, we replaced it with that film resistor, and that one worked beautifully. So that was a real success story. That one had problems. We changed that cap, and then boom, away she went, all looking good. There was Gibbertronics. You were there. Which one were you, Gibbertronics? My SE30 is now back home and working. Need to work on the analog board though. There's a little flaky and flips to a horizontal line from time to time. I'll be checking for cracked solder joints first, and then next after that would be capacitors, I'd say, for that. Theo, are you still working on the Onshape tutorial series? Thank you for asking. Yes, I am. So I made the first 2 and I released them together because I really felt like, those first two, if you watch them, it's enough for someone to kind of get a pretty good feel for it, and then potentially start looking at it themselves. But it has always been my intention to go into more advanced stuff with that, and time has just been a bit of an issue at the moment because of incidental stuff that's been going on. I've got probably 3 or 4 videos in production at the moment, but I am definitely going to be adding more. I've already figured out what I'm going to be building in that next one, and then I'm going to go through and I'm not just going in and showing how to build it, but also with this thing that I've got, going to be showing different ways of 3D printing it and how we can strengthen it and we can have it as being stronger with printing it one way versus another way. Oh, you're Luke. Okay. Well, you're the other Luke. Or are you that Luke? Which Luke? Because there were 2 Lukes there yesterday, so now you're just going to confuse me. Are you the Luke I was chatting to on Facebook just a moment ago? Actually, that's all starting to all form together now. That is now, everything is now starting to come together. Yeah, that's that Luke. Yes. So, hello, Luke. Yes. Luke's the short one. Sorry, that's a bit of a joke. Anyone who saw the live stream yesterday will realise that Luke is about that much taller than me. Anyhow, there was a really good result with a lot of these, and particularly at the end of the day, just hearing the chimes coming from all over the table as people had finished recapping and were putting the boards in. It was really good in that regard. I wished I'd had more time at the end of the day to start looking at some of the problem boards. I'm probably going to reach out to some of those guys, see if I can get their contacts, and ask them, see if they can, if they want to send the logic boards to me, because I would be happy to diagnose some of those problems and get them sorted. One guy, he had a board that it was problematic, so but it was still switching on, and then all of a sudden there was a short on the board. There was a short circuit on the board, and it just appeared out of nowhere. So we've got to try and find out where that short circuit is coming from. So, okay, so that's So yesterday, again, my apologies to anyone who was watching and were not happy with the picture or the audio, or I had a microphone on. What's his name? Adrian had a microphone on. And sometimes we're in opposite parts of the room talking to different people, so you would have been getting 2 conversations happening at the same time. I imagine that was probably fairly hectic. Nick, hello there. So anyhow, the now I'm I had to, because I took a lot of my equipment with me yesterday. I took a microscope, which I've left there. I've left there on, let's call it permanent loan to the Australian Computer Museum Society when I was there, because I have 2 microscopes. I have this one and I have the spare one. And the spare one's been sitting in storage for the last year, 2 years, something like that. And it just does not make sense. It's nice to have a spare, but at the end of the day, going there yesterday to this workshop, the Australian Computer Museum workshop, and having a few people sit down at the microscope to check the board they're working on or have a look at something, and looking into it and going, oh, wow, I've got to get me one of these. I thought to myself, it makes so much more sense to have that microscope sitting there at the Australian Computer Museum Society workshop, so that when they come in and people, because one of the things they do with the Australian Computer Museum Society is people can go in there on a workshop day, use the equipment that's there to do repairs on their boards. And I figured having that microscope there means it's just going to get used, it's going to get appreciated. So I've sort of left that there. And there was not a coffee cup in the stream. I don't know the reference to that one. Trying to work without any form of microscope yesterday was super hard. I feel like I want to recheck all my recapping work. I don't blame you. So I went to one of the other workshop days for the ACMS a while ago, and I didn't bother taking the microscope, but I took some magnifying goggly things, little magnifier things, and it ain't the same. It really ain't the same. So spill coffee on the logic boards, then repair. I haven't done that. I don't do that. I've never done that. I've had cats throw up on my logic boards and then repair them. Have to repair them. Look, I'm 50 something. I don't know. I can't remember. What year is it? And I still think I'm in my early 50s. And when you reach round about the 40 mark, not exactly 40, but around then, your eyes start to go long-sighted. And that really sucks for looking at things up close. So, yeah. Cat vomit on a board sounds horrible. Yes. Well, it was my cat, though, so it's not like it was just a stranger. Yeah, but I did. I got that one working, by the way, the cat vomit computer. Got that back up and working. I like to think I'm in my mid-20s. Yeah, I mean, I have this whole thing where I'm not really good at time. I mean, I'm good at time in that I'm on time to things. If someone says you need to be there at 11, I'll be there at 11. That's fine. I'm good with time in that regard. But passage of time, I'm pretty shocking, I'm sure I was 40 for about 5 years. Coke is terrible on boards, by the way. If anyone ever spills Coke on something, I mean, just switch it off straight away, wash it. Coke is corrosive and conductive. And it can just cause mayhem. So try not to spill Coke on anything. Coca-Cola. Right. Now, I'm still a little bit nasally. I do apologise for that. I got a cold. It's not a bad one. It's not one that's stopping me from doing anything. I don't have any aches or anything like that. I've just got a runny nose and an occasional cough, and that's pretty much it. But it just means I'm not, 100%, and I will try and mute any time I sneeze or sniffle or something like that. So, sorry about that. I was very happy to take the hot air station yesterday. It was the only hot air station there. They had solder tweezers, which I did end up using to get one cap off a board. And they had lots of soldering stations. They were all using JBC, which make very nice stations. And in actual fact, the station that I use uses JBC tips. So these little tips here are JBC tips, and like that. And in actual fact, not this one, but this one here is actually a genuine JBC tip. So these ones are knockoffs copies. This is a real one. But yeah, it was all pretty darn good. Coke works well to clean up blood. That's good to know, David. Hello, David. I don't think I said hello to you. So some of the really important things, if you're not aware of this, vinegar is really good for clearing up rust. And you've got to clean it all off very well afterwards, but it's incredibly good at breaking down rust. Like, to a point that really amazed me. I was amazed how well it did. You don't need to go out and get any fancy vinegar. It doesn't have to be apple cider vinegar. It doesn't have to be, I don't know, sort of rice wine vinegar or something like that. Just, you can either buy just white vinegar, or you can actually buy cleaning vinegar, typically in the cleaning aisle of your favourite supermarket. And you can just buy these big 2-litre bottles of cleaning vinegar. They're not designed for consumption, and they are very cheap. And yeah, just submerge rusty stuff in that, and then give it a wipe afterwards. The rust just comes off. It's nice. David, we don't need to know that. All right, let's get on a little bit of work done, shall we? First of all, before we get a little bit of work done, I've just got to talk about some of the little care packages that I've got recently. So, first of all, I have received this from Colin at This Does Not Compute. Hello to Colin. It doesn't look like he's here today. Maybe if I show the chickens. Sometimes he comes when I show the chickens. So we'll just go here, go chooks. Hello, chickens. I think one of them's sick, by the way. I think one of my chooks is sick, unfortunately. I think it's that one there that's standing still in the top right hand. She's looking a little bit better than she was this morning, but I'm just going to have to keep an eye out for her. So, I mean, there's not much you can do. When a chicken is sick, it's not like you take them to the vet or anything like that. There are usually signs. The comb at the top loses some of its colour, and then they often end up just spending a lot of time sitting still. But hopefully, she'll be better. She's a very sort of feisty chook, that one. I hope she recovers. She's always been a very fit and fighting healthy sort of chook. So I got this from Colin of This Does Not Compute, and this is a reloaded 2SI power supply board, and I love the white PCB. I don't know why I love it so much, but I do. And so this is going to be fun. I'm going to do this in a future live stream. I'm basically going to take a bad one, and I'm just going to put all new caps on this, but then just populate it with all the components from the other board. And hopefully we'll be good. We'll get a functional 2SI power supply. Now, I know what you're thinking. Or maybe you're not thinking this. But some of you might be thinking that. They're going to be saying, but there are two boards for 2SI power supply. There's this one, and there's the little one that goes... I think it's there? No. Where is it? It's on the secondary side. It's not on the primary side. There. That goes here. There's a little board, and he sent me one of those too. He actually sent me 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. I think he had a few extra. And so I can populate this as well. It needs a couple of little capacitors on the surface mount capacitors, and the rest I'll just bring across from the other one, and then that just goes in like that. Or is it like that? I think it's like that. And it goes vertically there. So this will be really nice because I do actually have a 2SI with a bung power supply. I've got one 2SI that's using one of those new ones, which just uses a Pico ATX. It uses a 12 volt power supply and a Pico ATX power supply to get all the different power output. I got that one from K-Mac Vintage. Check that out. But there are better ones out there now. So I think if I was going to do it again next time, I'd go with the better one. There's one that just uses, I think, 2 separate power supplies on it, rather than using the Pico ATX. I need to buy another Pico ATX. I managed to break all of mine. I had 3 of them, I think, and I broke all of them. So that's really good. So thank you very much, Colin. If you do happen to watch this later on, and if you don't, I'll definitely thank you at the next live stream that you jump on and say hello on. So thank you. So let me just move this. Oh, here he is. I told you that you either had this going in the background, or that has got to be the biggest coincidence ever. So if this is a dead set coincidence, this is amazing. So I started talking about you, Colin, and I said, I don't think he's in the chat. And then I said, let's see if I show the chickens, then he'll maybe come. And so I showed the chickens for a little bit, and then a little bit later you turned up. So now I would love to believe that is just pure coincidence, and you didn't actually have it going in the background. Anyhow, so here are the chooks. We've got... I can control the camera, but I might do that a little bit later. But you can see as to, so the one on the top right there that's kind of still, I think, is a little unwell. So I'll be keeping an eye on her. But they're all good there. I haven't fed them today, but they do have their feeders. On the left-hand side, you can see there's 3 tubey type things there. They're their feeders, so they can actually get food anytime they want, but I haven't given them their treats today. And they do love their treats. In fact, I think, I probably give them too many treats. So anyhow, now the reason why I was talking about you, Colin, is I was talking about... Where the hell did I put it? Here we are. Talking about this that you sent me and I received the other day, and thank you very much. This is the 2SI reloaded power supply and a whole bunch of these little secondary boards, little daughter boards, whatever. So I will be building that in a future live stream. I'm really looking forward to that. So I thank you very much for that. And I still owe you one of these RAM things, so I'll be getting that off to you. Everything's gone a bit crazy for me lately. Just anyone who has just tuned in, 3 weeks ago my mother had a fall, did unbelievable damage to her knee, ended up having to get surgery to put it all back together again. She is now, for the next 6 weeks, we're 3 weeks into that, so we're halfway, she's not allowed to put any weight on the leg at all. So it means she's ultimately largely confined to a wheelchair, and she can kind of hop a bit with a walking frame. And she's back at home, but she's requiring 24/7 care. So Our family, we have been taking it in turns looking after her, and I just did I did a stint last week. I was on the first shift when she first came out of hospital, and then my cousin took over she came across from New Zealand to spend a few days there. Then my sister came up from Melbourne, spent a few days, and then my auntie came up from Canberra to spend a few days, and then I think I was next, and then I was next, and then I was there, and now my cousin is there with his wife. So, I mean, look, the family has rallied together, and it is just so good, and it's just I think it's an indication of how much my mum is loved by the family, and how sort of how keen everyone is to help. And it doesn't hurt that my cousin is a physiotherapist and my cousin's wife is a retired occupational therapist. So it does help to have these professionals around as well. So anyhow, I'm rostered on again, I think in a couple of weeks' time, but, so that has just meant that life has just been in disarray. I mean, I haven't been getting much sleep. I haven't been able to get to any videos or anything like that. I've just been squeezing in a live stream wherever I can. And this is the end result. So anyhow, big thank you to Colin for sending that over. I really appreciate that. It's going to be good fun. And of course, I've got two 2SI power supplies that don't work even after recapping. So they're going to be great ones. I'm just going to get one of those and bring all the components across with some new caps. Now, I also wanted to... Got another one of these boxes from K Cobra at Kero's Mac Mods, and I'm really looking forward to this. So, there are two things in here, and I did mention this last time, but I don't think I showed them. So I'm going to show them this time. So first of all, he sent me another one of those little paddles, the little twiddly paddles thing. And the reason why he sent that to me is because after building it, I decided I actually wanted to do a full video on it, not just a live stream. So he sent me another set so that I can go in and build a new one, and I can do that as an actual video of building the paddles. But he also sent me this. This is just the cutest thing ever. Look at it. Look at it. Little joystick. How cool is that, with the buttons and the joystick and whatnot? There's a little joystick here. So I'm going to be making a video of building one of those as well, and then of course I'll use it to play a few games and stuff like that. So, and people can watch just how bad I am at games. So that one of the games that I used to play a lot when I had an Apple IIe back in the day was a game called Ghostbusters. Very, very frustrating game to play, but I used to play it because it was one of the few games I had that I think used a joystick. And so I have this, desire to get, the Ghostbusters game up and running again. So, Will's here. Hello there, Will. I saw a lot of your gear yesterday, Will, when I was at this Macageddon event yesterday, and people were repairing a lot of SE30s. There was one of your little power supply meters for plugging onto the back of the computer. There was one of your little blinky lights SE30s that Gibatronics brought up there. What else was there? Well, there were other things there as well. But it was good to see people with your gear. Oh, and the tech step. It was the first time I've actually seen one of those. Gibatronics actually had a tech step, one of the reproduction tech steps. So that was so cool. I was looking at that. I think it's awesome. I'll tell you what I would love to do with one of those, because I do intend to get one day just to have it. The little buttons on there, I would love to reproduce them on the resin 3D printer to just get a really nice smooth finish on those buttons. I reckon it would just look awesome. So, I'm glad you loved the stream yesterday. I didn't even know you were watching because I didn't even get to look at the chat. It was very frustrating for me, but and I really hope it wasn't too painful for people to watch. I had no control over things, and that was very frustrating for me. Okay, so that's the mailbag section over. Now we're actually going to start having a look at some stuff to do. Now, my desk is in absolute chaos at the moment because I had to dismantle everything here yesterday to take equipment with me. I had to take my soldering iron, I had to take my hot air station, I didn't take my power supply, my multimeter, all my tools, like a scalpel and toothbrush and tweezers and the whole smash. So that was intense. Now I'm just going to get a little plastic bag here because I whipped off some chips the other day because I was planning to make a few 4 megabyte Sims, and I whipped off the chips, but I couldn't find my little cache of Sims, and that's why I need to clean this desk. But I'm just going to put these chips in here in readiness. There we go. Right. So, this is the 840AV board. Oh, there's another chip. Well, oh, there it is. Okay, so let's just go to the top view now. Yep, oh, good. Top view works. That's great. I like it when I've you know, because I took cameras and everything from. I took my computer, my streaming computer. I took it with me. It's just crazy. This is my little modified webcam that I made. I talked about it in my last live stream. That I've modified this to work with this zoom lens, which I also modified to work with my microscope camera. Okay, I'll move that. Got a bit more wick. I'm glad all this wick is turning up. Wickety whack. Okay, that I think is a different chip, but I'm going to put it in the bag anyway. Let's sort that out. Going to run the SE30 through the tech step once I get things back set up at home. That's awesome. Alright, let's just move this multimeter. You can never have too many multimeters. There's a multimeter that I'm so keen to buy, because I buy multimeters all the time, because I like multimeters. I've never made any secret of that. But I saw a multimeter the other day that you wear on your wrist. So it's this great big multimeter that sits on your wrist, and then you just have the leads hanging out of it. And I thought, that is just about the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I've got to have one. If I go silent, it's because I haven't had a chance to fully charge my battery, my microphone battery since yesterday. I have another one here charging, so if I do go silent, just let me know in the chat and then I'll just swap over. Right. Okay. Let's get that out of the way. Bit of broken plastic. A couple of capacitors. A few cotton buds, as we call them. Q-tips, I believe, is the name that people use in the US for these. We call them cotton buds. Right, so this one has been recapped. All the caps taken off, all the electrolytic caps taken off, and this is a bit of my pizza from before. All the electrolytic caps taken off and replaced with new ones. During that time, we did find a few problems. One big problem we did find was one of these chips has actually got legs that are wibbly wobbling. They're not making contact. Now, I toyed with the idea of just trying to solder those legs down again, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the whole chip off. I'm going to clean all the pads around it. I'm going to check them for continuity, and then I'm going to stick the chip back down again. Seems like a lot of work, but it is the way you can be kind of sure that it's been done properly. This is not something I recommend for someone who is just starting out, because the pins on these are tiny. And, you know, if you make a bit of a mistake, things can just get really bad really quick. So I'm just going to jump across to the scope view now. Does this work? Oh, look at that. Yes, it does. So I've got to find out which one it was. I think it was this one. We'll know in a minute. Oh, wow. Okay, hang on. That's frozen. You're looking at a frozen view, and that will not do at all. Okay, is that better? Ah, yeah, okay. All right, so I've got to fix this up. So let me just get this in focus. This thing keeps falling down. I don't know what... Oh, there it is. I don't know why it keeps falling down, but it does. So this is meant to be up here like that. Oh, now I think I see why it keeps falling down. Let me just get a pair of pliers and see if I can do this up a little bit tighter. Alright, that is hopefully better. So let's get that focused perfectly. That's close enough. And make sure I can see it, because that's fairly important too. Alright, so if we have a look at this, I can give these a bit of a wiggle woggle. Is that a word? Wobble is probably the word I was thinking of. And you can see that they are not stuck down. So I'm going to whip this whole chip off, going to clean up the bottom of the pins, and then we're going to stick it back on again. Oh my God, I've frozen. Why have I frozen? Just me? Look, look, my lips aren't moving. That's amazing. And that, and that. Okay. Now let's see if it's still working on the scope here as well. Is that? Oh, I see. So I can have one working but not the other. Is that how it works? So I'm moving here. Okay, I've got an idea. I have an idea here, folks. So let's just give this a crack. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go like that, and then I'm going to go like that, and I think we've done it. Oh no, now we've frozen. The top view is frozen. Okay, all right. Okay, I can do this. Don't trust me. I can do this. I can figure this out. So I go to the top view now. I'm going to go to the top camera, and I need to change this to a camera that I don't use very much. How about OBS Virtual Camera? And then we'll change it back to... Oh, is it that one? Yep, okay. So, how are we doing? We've got... Okay, I think we're all good. That's what I have to do to get this system working each time. Nice. Isn't that fun? Bruce is in a bad kung fu movie. That's funny. Oh yes, if just in case people haven't seen the video, it was the video that Steve did about the head-controlled mouse. It's quite funny. Alright. Okay, time to whip this off. Now, I'm going to just lather this in flux. And this is my favourite flux. This is Steri ASM. And it's got... Oh, look at all the gunk I'm putting on here as well. It's had a chance to accumulate on the tip of this, but it's not going to matter. It's all going to burn up. And I'm really going to lather it on here. So loads and loads of flux there. Lashings of flux. Anyone who's it was Enid Blyton, I think, something like that. Lashings of ginger beer. Stop it. Stop it. Right, hot air station. Now this is going to take a while because we've got to get all of these pins hot. Oh, fume extraction, please. Thank you. Fume extraction, please. Pull over. So the big trick with these is getting them off without bending any of these little teeny weeny pins. And I'm confident that I might be able to do that. You can actually get hot air attachments for some hot air stations that will blow like 4 jets at once down all sides, which make it easier to take a component like this off. I don't have one of those. But I'd like to get one. As I'm doing this, I just get a pair of tweezers and I just Every now and again stick it under the corner to see if it lifts, just gently. I don't want to force anything. And then eventually I'll do it and it will lift. Here we go, she's starting to go. There we go. And then I flip it over onto its back. I do that so that the pins are actually sticking upwards and that's not going to resolder itself back onto the surface. And then I let that gradually cool down. Hello Foxhound477. You haven't missed a whole lot. Just a lot of me apologising for yesterday's live stream. And then talking about some of the things that people have sent me lately. And then a little bit of jibber jabber on this 840AV board. So I've just lifted off this chip that says VLSI on it. And I'm just going to move this out of the way, being very careful not to bend any pins. Because that was the one thing we said we did not want to do. I'm going to put it there. That's probably a little precarious. It'll do for now. I do need to grab something up from the house. I do have what I want down here somewhere, but I do know exactly where to find what I'm looking for up in the house. So if I can't find it here, I've got to go up there. All right, now that it's off, the next thing we need to do is we need to make all of these pads look like they're brand new. And I'm going to do that by adding a whole stack more flux again. Like that. Just going to change the settings on this this camera. This camera is trying automatic brightness, and I don't want it to be automatic. I want it to just lock in. So I'm just going to go here to that one, and we're going to go here to C920, and we're going to go apply, and then I might just manual. There we go. We just don't want this too bright. There we go. And oh, do we like that? Is that a good look? There we go. Right. Okay. Oh, OBS is telling me there's a new version. You're not going to catch me out with that again. Okay. Micro hobbyist, hello there. I better turn my soldering iron on. It works better that way. I felt it was necessary to do another live stream today to try and redeem myself from the chaos that was yesterday. Yeah, these are really crunchy. These are definitely going to take a little bit of work to get these like new again. This has been through the ultrasonic cleaner too, by the way, I should mention. I didn't mention that. After recapping it, I then put it in the ultrasonic cleaner to try and rejuvenate. I have to be so super careful here because these pads are very delicate. Sorry about my sniffles. Sorry, everyone. Sorry. Stupid cold. I don't know where I caught it from, but whoever is responsible, I hope you're feeling bad about it. You can see that just gentle rubbing that I'm doing here is lifting off the mask on these tiny weeny little traces here. To some extent I'm not overly concerned about that. The reason being that I want to actually be able to see the edges of these to check and make sure that there's no breaks in them. Starting cold season here in Arizona. It was down to 36. 36, that's pretty warm. I like that. It's top of 31 here today. So, feeling good about that. I like the warm weather. Rudy is here. Hello there, Rudy. I feel like I haven't spoken to you in ages. Oh, these are bad. These are really bad. I mean, even after all this scraping that I've been doing, we've still got some problems here. You've got a little bit of gunk here. But on the bright side, I don't see any breaks. I can tell you, right at this moment, I am extremely nervous because I don't know what I will do if I lift one of these pads. It would be an absolute nightmare having to try and run a trace for these. Not impossible, but it's really not what I want to be doing. Matt Crafter, hello there. Was 40 degrees here just over a week ago. That's pretty toasty. Where you be? Where are you? What part of the world are you in that's getting 40 degrees fly? Oh, you just told us before. It's you again, Arizona. Yeah. Arizona. There's like a desert there, isn't there? Isn't there also like a massive crater? Like impact crater? Meteor crater there in Arizona? This is me letting people know how incredibly ignorant I am to US states and stuff like that, so I apologise, but we call it crater. There you go. It's got a it's got like a what do you call it? Like a tourist place right next to it. And what was it? Someone said once, it's so lucky the crater when it was so lucky when the meteor landed it missed the little tourist house. They worded it way better than I did. Sorry, it's funny the way they did it. Snowed in Arizona because deserts get very hot, but they also get very cold. They have a very, very big gap between the hot and the cold, and they're the same with the deserts here in Australia. You can get incredibly cold. You can get incredibly hot days and incredibly cold nights. There is a word for that, but I can't remember what it is. My dad would know, but unfortunately he's no longer with us, so he won't be of any help. Hot days and hot nights. Nice. Yeah, Sydney's a place that gets very warm nights as well. I remember that. I mean, these days I've got air conditioning, but I grew up in a house without air conditioning. And on those hot nights, you just set up a fan, get yourself like a little hand towel or a face washer or something like that. You'd wet it and you'd like put it on your face and have the fan blowing on you. Sort of the only option. You owe over US $500 for 2 months in the summer. I'm not even going to tell you what it costs over here. All I can say is $500 for 2 months would be awesome. Got a really cruddy looking one here. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a scrapey scrape. No snow in Melbourne, yep. No snow in Sydney. Oh well, snowed twice since I have records on file. How about that? I don't think it's ever snowed in Sydney. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Last ice age or something. I've never even seen snow, so hey, there you go, that gives you an idea. I mean, I have travelled to other countries, but I've always travelled to other countries in their summer. So I've never actually experienced snow anywhere. I did see a glacier in New Zealand once. I'm not sure if that counts. Now, one of the things that people often talk about when they're trying to clean up pads and stuff, they talk about fiberglass pencils. I don't know if anyone's seen them or used them. I do have one. I don't use them for this because this is covered in flux. If you try and use a fiberglass pencil on something that is dirty, you just end up getting it all clogged up. You need to use, if you're using a fiberglass pencil, you've got to use that on clean. And this is not clean, so that's why I use the scalpel, because I can just scrape stuff up. Scrapey, scrape, scrape. Last swim of the season. Enjoy, Matt Crafter. See you later. Thanks for joining. There we go. This is coming along well. This is time consuming, but that's okay. Got to do it right. Excuse me. Sorry, Sniffle. Sorry, Sniffle. This one here, these are the ones that weren't stuck on properly. So these are the ones that are really, really heavily corroded. So I'm just giving those a little scrapey scrape now. These are like 100% gunk, 0% solder. Oh, you took off the VSLI? I did take off the VSLI for the chip. And here it is. Here it is. And I'm going to try very hard not to bend those pins. I'm going to have to clean it up though. It's really, really grubby. A thin line between brave and stupid. Yes, indeed. Whereas there's that line from Spinal Tap. It's such a fine line between clever and stupid. Dun, 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 dun. I watched. I should say I can't say I've watched. I'm still in the middle of watching because I have been so tired last couple of days that when I sit down and start watching a movie, I just start falling asleep. But I've started watching a film called The Last Bus with what's his name, Matthew McConaughey. All right. And it's very, very exciting movie. But I keep falling asleep because I've just been so dog-tired. So hopefully I'll be able to finish that tonight. It is grand final season here at the moment in Sydney. There is a game that is watched fairly religiously in not all states, but some states of Australia, mainly New South Wales and Queensland. I mean, yes, in Victoria as well, but in Victoria, they've got their own game. They watch AFL, Australian Rules, football, and so that's what Melbourne and probably South Australia they get into that as well. I couldn't give a rat's about that, to be honest. I have no understanding of that game whatsoever. But here in New South Wales and in Queensland, we have NRL, Rugby League, National Rugby League, and it is the grand final tonight. And of course the irony is that even though New South Wales has the most teams in it, we're not in the grand final. It's Melbourne versus Brisbane. Crazy. Chaos. What happened? Even though my team's not in the grand final, to some extent I'm kind of glad they're not. And that sounds weird, but they've won like the last 5 times, and I feel like there needs to be a changing of the guard, you know? Just gets dull if the same team wins the grand final year after year. But there will be lots of barbecues and parties and things going on tonight here in Sydney. I have had a dinner request from my wife. What she wants me to cook for her tonight, I am cooking steak. Steak. See you, Luke. Thanks for joining. Enjoy lunch. I had leftover pizza for breakfast today. Breakfast of champions. I love leftover pizza. I love cold leftover pizza. It's beautiful. It's got to be the right pizza though. Like Supreme pizza is beautiful when it's cold. It's got to have pineapple on it. I know a lot of people argue having pineapple on pizza, you're not supposed to have pineapple on pizza. But on cold pizza in particular, that sweetness of the pineapple just makes leftover pizza beautiful. Beautiful. Toasted sandwich on the menu. Get out there and splurge. I played little rugby in college, lots of drinking after we pounded the hell out of each other. That was probably rugby union rather than rugby league. They're very similar sports, but they do have quite different rules and stuff. Oh, we've got a shifty pad there. You're going to have to be careful with that. Got 2. Far out. We've got chaos going on here. This side is a bit of a problem. I'm going to have to keep going up and down this way really, really carefully. And this is recoverable. But boy, it ain't good. Whoop. This is bad. Moving pads is bad, okay? I love pineapple on pizza. I mean, I don't understand why someone would not want pineapple on pizza. I just think it's that sweetness added to it is just beautiful. Beautiful. But of course, it's up to the individual. I'm not going to force anyone else to have pineapple on their pizza. If you don't like it on there, don't have it on there. Simple as that. Right, now let's see if we can get some of these little traces back into the position they're meant to be in, or pads. You are meant to be there. I do not like the bend you have either. Good. And what is it? You are meant to be here. Thank you. And then I've got a little bit of scraping to do up here. I'm not going to put any more heat on these pads, I don't think. Not until I'm actually soldering the chip back on. Because I just don't want to take any more risks with these pads. All the other sides have been fine. Just this one here, it's been nasty. Nasty. Okay. Pineapple, jalapeno and ham pizza. I get so frustrated with trying to get spicy pizzas. I ordered a spicy pizza last night and it just had no spice in it whatsoever. I had to douse it in hot sauce. And then other times I've grabbed ones and I've gone, oh, here's this one, it's not too bad. And it's been as hot as all blazes and my mouth's been on fire. I just sort of feel like people aren't getting, well, certainly out here, aren't getting the heat levels right. I love jalapenos on pizza. Absolutely love jalapenos on pizza. You know, you get those pickled ones out of the jar and you just plonk those on there. Whoa, yummo. Okay, so I think we're crisis averted on this one. We do have those very problematic pads there, but we didn't lose them, and they are now clean. So I think with the right handling, when we put the new component down, I think we're safe. Oh, not new component, old component. Right, so that's it. I'm not going to touch that side anymore because it's too scary. He sounds pretty scary to me. Yeah, look, I would believe David Starbuck. I would 100% believe what you're saying there, that the Americans get spicy pizza correct. I'm sure they do. And don't get me wrong, I have been to places where I've had good spicy pizzas, but they've been like little boutique pizza places, not one of the big chains, you know, because over here, obviously, we've got Domino's, Pizza Hut, and there are a few others and stuff like that. Getting some, I'm just doing a bit of cleaning here. Let's just change to my top view for this. And I might get a little bit of zoom if I can find the remote control. Ah, found it. Alright, what? I say what? What? I say what? Too far. Don't want to be looking at my gut. There we go. That'll do. Focus. Focus. I'd like a little container because I think I would actually like to have this thing swimming in iso alcohol. So I might just do this. we go. Okie dokie. Right, so what I'm going to have to do with this now, I'm going to inspect these pins from underneath. And we're just going to see, well, we will see what we will see. So these are the ones here that weren't soldered, and as you can see, they're really dark. They're not shiny like these ones. So I'm going to have to probably clean those up a little bit. I had a carbonara pizza last night. That was bloody beautiful. So that was with like a creme fraiche kind of creamy base rather than tomato base. Then with bits of bacon and stuff like that. That was really nice. I enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it more than my wife did. Creme fraiche. I'd really, really love to try and get these pins looking better, but I'm just worried that anything I do to them is likely to bend them in ways I do not want them bent. Let me show you this. Here's one I prepared earlier. It is my goal to one day actually try and straighten these out and get this put onto a computer, but it's a 33 megahertz 68030, and it fell off and ended up on the floor for a few weeks, and that's why it looks like that. It was one of my surplus ones. It's not, you know, off a board or anything like that. God, look at these legs. Stop it. I like thin crust pizza over thick crust. What? I don't even know what that means. I always like to go on thin base. I just always, I find those really big, thick base pizzas where you just feel like they've just made a pizza on a loaf of bread. I just find them a bit too much. This is hectic, eh? It's got to be the most exciting thing you've seen all day, surely. Who would want to watch sports when you can watch this? Yeah, I mean, I generally, whenever I refer to pizza, the sort of pizza that I'm eating, you know, I am always referring to American-style pizza, not Italian-style pizza. And I know it gets its origins from Italy, but I mean, basically what we're eating nowadays when you phone up and order pizza from someone, you're getting American-style pizza. Americans don't certainly know their fast foods, I'll give them that. I mean, one of my favourite foods is a hamburger. Just straight up. And yeah, got Americans to thank for that. Ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Doing my best not to wreck this jib, 'cause I don't think I have a spare. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Shrimp and feta pizza. Right, so there's a couple of crunchy looking things here. Back. Get back in line, you. I've told you once. I'm getting a bit of muscle fatigue in my hand from holding this thing down. Starting to get the wobbles. stay. See, I really like it if there is exposed metal on the top and the bottom of the pins. I just find that's easier for, I mean, technically you only need it on the bottom, but I just find I like to have some, you know, sort of some clean metal on the top of the pin too. Get a nicer solder blob, nicer connection. Now in a moment I'm going to press the little back soon button, because I'm going to nip up to the house and grab a thing that I want to use for cleaning up these pins a bit more, that hopefully won't completely destroy them. But if it does completely destroy them, it'd be worth sticking around for, I'll tell you that. Because I'll probably do my nana. I'll go right off. And then that'll be something worth watching. Might even make a short out of it if I stuff it up. Zibbity-bap. Zibbity-bap. Okay. Pentium MMX, is that a question for me or is that to someone else in the chat? So this is this 840AV is not mine. This belongs to a customer. But I do have an 840AV and I do also have a 660AV. The 660AV actually is one of my favourite little Macs. It's one of the ones right up on the list there with the 2CI and the SE30 and that. And even the Mac Plus is up there as well. I like the Mac Plus. Yeah. I do have a 660 AV. It works beautifully. Alright, okay, I'm going to press the back soon button now, so please just talk amongst yourselves. It won't be long. I know exactly where it is, the thing that I want to go get. I'll grab a drink while I'm up too. I'm a little bit parched. Back soon. Hello-dly dodly. Just checking the chat while I was gone. Okay, so this is the thing I went to go up and get. I just buy these from the what do you call it, the pharmacist, chemist, drugstore, and they're just for cleaning. They're for polishing up fingernails, and they have just it starts. This is, I think, the coarsest one, and then there's slightly less coarse, and so it's coarse, slightly less coarse, very not coarse at all. This is for real polishing type stuff. You can actually make your fingernails shine with that. And this I tend to use for cleaning the pins of these. So I'll get this on that and I'll do a bit of... I'm bending some of these pins, so that's not working out well. I might have to try... I think probably the main thing is to not wiggle it around like that. Just I'll go, just keep it in one direction. But you can see it's working, and I'm exposing copper at the bottom of these, so... Oh wow, this got mangled. How did I do that? Look at that, mangled. Alright, let's try it this time, being a little bit more careful. It still sucks, but... that one's not too bad. I think I probably got the bottoms of those a little bit more consistent. Yeah, that one's pretty good too. Okay, so let's just get these pins back into shape. And then let's put this on post haste. Yeah, sure. Get a text message saying, click this link, or whatever. So sick of spam messages, you know, just in general. Phone message, I mean, it's just there all the time. And it just makes me not want to, have, you know, like allow any person other than who I know get through to my phone. Right, well I think we're probably ready to start having a crack at getting this back on the board. It's still not in the best condition. What I would love to do is just get a brand new chip, but that's not really an option. But I think I'm ready to start getting this back on the board. Whew. Hello there, hardware hacker. Jack 69 to Lisa 2, I need to get the motherboard that all of the other boards plug into. Yeah, what do they call that? That has a name. I've got one here. What do they call that board? Was it like the personality board? No, that was something else, wasn't it? Oh, God, there's a weird name for it. I mean, it's sort of technically the motherboard because it's the one that houses all the other boards, and they are notorious for getting damaged traces. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna check something here. I'm getting a little message saying that I have to sort out something with my PayPal account. Oh no. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. That board, and as I say, I do have one here. It's not mine, unfortunately, but it's stuff that. But I've got two that need work because they're bad. Okay. Right. Now, which pin's which? On 6200. There's pin 1. That's pin 1 there, I think. Let's have a look. Whoops. So, you got a dot there. You got a dot there, because I tell you what, I do not want to put this down the wrong way. Now, because some of these legs are bent, I kind of have to position this based on as many of the legs being right as possible. But I'm not going to get it exact, because some of the pins I'll have to bend back into place. God, I'm going to have to be so careful. Stop it! Don't you make me cross. Don't make me angry, Don't make me angry. No, Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Alright, I'm going to give this a try. And one of the first things I want to do is get these pins down here squared away. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. Right. Okay. Just going to get a couple of these and bend them a little bit, like this guy here. Good, 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 good. And need to bend a little bit. Bend just a little bit. Just a little bit. Am I making anyone nervous? Just thought I'd ask that. Dana! Hello, Dana. Jeff's here as well. Hello there. This one has been quite the thing. But I'm feeling semi-confident. I'm doing this side first because I have a few pads that are lifting. I want to get them squared away. Now, I will not be drag soldering this. I'll sort of be drag soldering it, but not totally drag soldering it. See, you can see this little pad here. It's going for a bit of a walk. I should actually zoom in a little, shouldn't I? I have the technology. It's a bit bright. Let's see if I can lower the brightness a smidge. Oh, that was a big jump down, wasn't it? See how we go like that. Heard sniffles, yes. So Dana warned me before. He said he does not want to watch a live stream with me sniffling. And look, I can't say I blame him, but of course I do have this annoying cold at the moment. It's not a bad one. It's not stopping me from doing things. It's just giving me the occasional sniffles. Coughed a little bit this morning too, but I haven't coughed much since then. Oh. Strange. Will this wind be so mighty as to lay low the mountains of the earth? Bridge. There we go. Bridge. Over troubled waters. Gonna need a little bit of solder wick on that one. Some of these pins are as crooked as a question mark. Okay, look, I think they're all on, but I will check. I've got this all well doused with flux, and what that means is it just helps that solder flow. So when I just apply the heat there, the solder's just getting really fluid, and then it can just flow all over the pad and underneath the pin and be where it needs to be to bring joy to our hearts. Say hello to the chook, shall we? Hello, chickens. The one up the top that looks like it's dead is actually sitting in a little dust bath. Something they do all of the time. They dig a little hole and then they sit in it and they spread their feathers out. You can see it wiggling around there up the top. And that's their little dust bath. I think it's good for... they do it for pest control or something like that. I think. But it's definitely part of their little routine. Alright, let's move to the next one. This one doesn't look as bad. This one is a lot easier. I think it's going to be a lot easier to get into place. I do have a bit of an issue with some of these pins being quite elevated. Okay, these all look pretty well lined up. So now I shall just douse with flux. I am using Styri ASM flux. It is the flux I like to use the most. I love the formula. I like its clarity. I like that it doesn't all just burn away when you hit it with hot air. And I like that it really makes the solder flow beautifully. So that is the one I use. There are links in the description and a discount code if you are curious. But Styri ASM, there are plenty of different types out there. That's the one that I use and prefer. I've tried lots of other ones, and I could say to you quite confidently that if I was never able to get this flux again, those other ones would do me fine. But I still do definitely prefer to use this one. It is the one I continue to buy. It's very reasonably priced. Comes in an amber tube, which actually helps to block out UV light, which means that if you're storing those in anywhere other than in darkness, it will actually prolong its shelf life because it's keeping UV light out from the formula. Make it last longer. Uh-oh, I sniffled. Dana's going to get mad. I don't like sniffling on live stream. That's why I'm actually going to mute now. Because it's just a horrible sound. I remember I used to do this this little, what would you call it, podcasty type thing. I don't know if anyone remembers it. It's called Mac-Yak. I used to do it with a group of other guys. Some pretty strange people, I've got to tell you. But anyhow, there was one person in particular that used to sniffle on live stream all the time. And I would just be sitting there going, "Ey." I'm back, baby. Hello, welcome to Macintosh. I'm going to have to check these all for being stuck down because they're all a bit wonky, but I want to make sure they're all making contact. Oh, yeah. Don't mind me, I'm just soldering. Oh, damn, I just dropped something. I hope it's not important. Right, let's do this side now. Shall we? Has anyone seen the movie Weapons? I watched that the other day. Not a bad film. Pretty well made. There's apparently a new Conjuring movie out as well. I sort of feel like they might have done that franchise to death. I don't know if the new one's any good. Oops, sniffle. Last Rites, I think the new one is. I came in late. How's your mum doing? Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. She's doing well. I got home from spending 4 days there looking after her this week. I was there from Tuesday till Friday. And she's doing really well. I mean, obviously it's a very frustrating time because she's very, very limited in what she's able to do. That's what fell down. It was important. She's a very, very independent human being. And of course this has taken all that independence away from her temporarily. So, that's frustrating. But really, if we look at it in terms of her recovery and stuff like that, she's doing really well. Really well. Leaps and bounds. I mean, my mother is very, very conscientious in her age, sort of exercising. And so she does weights, and she does walks, and she does all these special back exercises and stuff, and she does them absolutely without fail. And I think that's really paying off for her now because it's really helped in this recovery process that she's had this strength, because she's gone for this situation where the stuff that she can't really lift herself with her legs now, so she has to lift herself with her arms. And so things like doing all those exercises really helped in that, which gives her some independence and that. But so I mean, look, she's recovering well. So thank you for asking. I'm back there again. I don't know, a week and a half or something like that. I'm the, what would you call it, sort of if there's no one else available person. And what I mean by that is a lot of people that are coming to look after my mum are coming from interstate or even overseas to help. And obviously coordinating for those people to come out is very, very difficult. Because I'm a lot closer, it's like, okay, well, no one can be here on that date, so Bruce is going to fill in that bit. So I've sort of been the one that fills in the gaps when no one else can be there, because I can. I mean, it's difficult because I am self-employed, and I don't get a lot of work done while I'm there. I get some done, but not a lot. But it is what it is. It's not forever. 6 weeks, and then she has to go have a checkup. And if they're happy with her progress, she's then going to go into rehab, and they're going to start. She'll be allowed to do partial weight bearing for 6 weeks, so at least she'll then be able to get around with some crutches. Yeah. I had a question about LC475 using the ROM socket. Have you tried it? My ROM hacker person in Alaska is using an LC475 that I fixed for him and added the ROM socket. So I assume you can make like a bootable ROM or something like that. You need to use the multi-system ROM sim that can work on the 2 Series and the LC Quadra. Okay, cool. What are you self-employed doing? Charlie has asked. I am a PHP web developer. So my main day job is creating sort of customized systems. 2, I think, that are of note. The 2 main ones are of note, I suppose. One of them is a loyalty rewards program. That's, for people earning points on purchases and stuff like that. That's one of the main things that I've built. And another one is a system for... See, once I build them, I then, kind of provide support and upgrades for them. The other one is a, what do you call it? System for carers. So it's, people who are caring for maybe someone with a physical disability or something like that, and they do it for a company, and these people then have a little web app that they use for tracking the shifts that they're rostered for, and if there have been any exceptions to the shift, they've maybe had to work late or stuff like that. So they've got this tracking system that I built for them, and they regularly just have updates for me. I built a few other things as well. I built a page that does printers in positions online, so you can upload a PDF to it and then you can punch out printers in positions. I built a system that generates little comedy, sort of like funny certificates. So if you're working in a company and maybe someone has been late for, I don't know, late for the last 3 weeks or something like that, and so they want to, jokingly give them a certificate saying, you know, being late the most times or something like that. Just silly joke certificates. And so I've got a website that does that. People can just type in the stuff they want to appear on the certificate, choose a design, and then punch out a PDF. It's all a bit of fun. Why aren't you sticking? FileMaker Pro and AppleScript. Them's were the days. Them's were the days. I have to confess, I do quite like PHP. I mean, look, programming language is a programming language. Learning to use a new programming language really doesn't take long. I program in a few different languages, and I when someone says to me, "Oh, can you program in so and so?" I was like, "Well, no, but I will be able to, but by next week if you want me to." Because it's more about the logic, understanding all the syntax and stuff like that. That doesn't take much. But yeah, I like working in PHP. I really do. I mean, I've made applications as well. Self-contained applications and iPhone apps and stuff like that. But I just like the PHP stuff. All right. Well, I've soldered it. It's back on. So, we should probably celebrate. I'm going to crack open a beer. No, I'm not really. It's a bit early for that for me. I mean, if I was going out to lunch, I might have a beer with lunch, but for like proper drinking, even though it's grand final day, it's still a bit early for me. Glass of wine, yes indeed, that's more my style. Didn't used to be a wine drinker. It's something that happened more recently. I used to be a big beer drinker. I used to be a vodka drinker throughout stages in my life. But wine is definitely my preferred poison at the moment. I need to buy some more isopropyl alcohol. This stuff smells funky. So I got some isopropyl alcohol that I was using for cleaning resin 3D prints, and I distilled it, and it cleans the hell out of it, but it has a funny smell. There must be some other chemical in the resin stuff that has mixed with the isopropyl alcohol, because it definitely taints the smell. Still seems to have all the same properties, but I don't like the smell. I like it not. I had a situation that happened relatively recently. I don't know, never figured out what happened with it. There's a company that were trying to find a solution, and despite going to lots of different people and all of them coming back to them with the same solution, they kept on searching. They kept on asking more people what to do about their situation. And I felt like they just kept on asking people until they would get an answer that they liked. Because ultimately, what they needed to do was going to cost a lot of money and take a lot of time. And what had happened was, this is a company that was using FileMaker Pro on PowerPC or something like that, under System 9, so not 10. So it was on a System 9 on PowerPC. They're using FileMaker Pro, and they had someone develop a custom FileMaker Pro environment for them, full-on customize it. You know, it's like, it's just made this thing, just spend a huge amount of work on it and customize it and made it exactly suit them. Then, very sadly, the guy who did all the customization died, leaving all the staff at the place using his system but not really having any idea how to make any changes or how to update it or whatever. And so as FileMaker Pro updates were coming out, they just weren't updating it because they were scared of breaking something, so they just stayed on an old version. So they were basically stuck on PowerPC computers running System 9 until, well, I don't know, they're probably still doing it, to be honest. But when they basically came, I gave them a couple of options. But I said there are a couple of things we can set up. We can set up a virtual environment on a newer computer, and they can just keep running the system as they are running it now, running the old version. Just, you know, but just running it under sort of emulation on a newer computer. Or we can go and try and upgrade the FileMaker files. So we'll have to buy the latest version of FileMaker. We'll have to upgrade it and fix anything that gets broken during the upgrade. And that's a bit of an unknown because we don't know what's going to break. And then the last one was to rebuild the whole thing from scratch. And of course that was going to be, you know, on new technology, and that was going to be very expensive. So they gave them those three options and just kind of never went anywhere. Yeah, you could do it on Cheap Shaver. You absolutely could if they wanted to. Right, so even though Cheap Shaver is a little bit flaky at times, I'm just going to go and check and see. We won't look at that, will we? No, we'll go to the scope view. I just want to check and see that all these pins. Oh, I feel like I got the pitch in there. Okay, just going to make sure we don't have any bridges and make sure that all of the pins are secure. They're looking good. Don't sound so surprised, Bruce. You'll give up the illusion that you really know what you're doing. I should just be saying, oh yeah, this is exactly what I was expecting. Yeah, this is exactly what I was planning. Yeah. Oh. Were you into Devo back in the day? I'm not sure you would go as far as to call me a Devo fan, as in like I never bought any of their albums, but I did have, because this, keep in mind, that was like Devo, if you look at say Whip It, that was 1980. I was fairly young at the time. And we had a collection, one of those album compilations of all the hits of the year, and Whip It was on that, and I loved Whip It. I loved the Whip It song. I like Freedom of Choice, that song there. So I think you could say that I like Devo, but look, I probably only know half a dozen of their songs, if that. I definitely don't dislike them, and I also think they were fairly, what would you call, kind of, different, you know. It's got a little bit of flaky metal sitting in between two of the pins here. I'd really like to, there we go, got rid of it. Okay, last side. I just went up before when I was, oh, look at that big blob of solder right there, right there, right there. I went up before just to grab stuff from inside the house and talk to my wife, and it looks like she's got my cold. Which is not surprising because we live in the same house. And I suspect I was contagious long before I even realised I had the cold. Okay, I ended up melting that solder ball, and it's now become part of the soldering. Rodville, don't worry about being late. I was a big Adam Ant fan when I was a youngster. Adam and the Ants. I had the album Prince Charming when I was a young tyke. I got it as a Christmas present from my parents. It was 1982, I think, from memory, which would have made me sort of like 10 or something like that. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's the one with the moving pad. So it's stuck down, so we're good. Another one with the moving pad. I should probably, when this is cleaned, I'll probably put some UV mask around that. Okay, look, we're good. I think we're good. Are we good? I'm going to bed. Some goof had me watching his SE30 repair stream last night till 2 a.m. Good grief. Well done. I mean, you know, you didn't have to, but well done. Thanks for watching. Yeah, so, okay. That's that chip. That one is, we've taken it off, we've cleaned up the pads, and then we've stuck it back down. I'm just going to have a quick look and see if we have any as bad as that one, whether we might need to do the same treatment on some of these other chips. It's these ones here with these, well, these ones aren't anywhere near as thin, so these are good. Yeah, good, good. Doesn't look too crash hot. We're good. We're stuck. Yeah. Okay, so that, oh, and there's this guy over here. This is an AMD chip, so I'm going to use it for mining some Bitcoin. I really don't want to ultrasonic this one much more. I worry about erosion, but I will need to do it just to get the gunk off the chip that I just replaced. Oh, we've got another skinny penny one here. Yeah, this is major skinny penny. These look alright. I mean, they don't look alright. They look corroded. They look awful. But I think they're still all making contact. Yep, we're good. And then let's have a look at the... this is the digital signal processor, is this one? Yes. The DSP. Desperate. Yep, looking good. So my general feeling is that the next step that I'm going to take with this, and I do apologise, I won't be doing this today, simply because I haven't got a power supply to test this with, but I do need to test it. So the next step, I'll clean the gunk off from putting that chip back. So just quick little go in the ultrasonic cleaner. Put all the components back on. So put the CPU back on, put the RAM, RAM and video RAM back on. It's video RAM, isn't it? Yeah. No, sorry. And then I will try and fire it up, and we'll see what we will see. If it works, joyous. The owner of this board will be very, very happy. If it doesn't, I'll cry. 0.5, hello there. I watched it up until my third glass of wine, and then I fell asleep. Fair enough, don't blame you. Oh, geez, I could have had a sleep, I'll tell you. Max is here. Hello there, Max. Yeah. All right, well, look, I know I've only been going for about 2 hours, but I do actually... So, yesterday... Sorry, just lifting my leg up a bit sore. Yesterday, I went to go sit at my computer. I walked in, I sat down on my chair, just went... Geez, a lot of spit came out when I did that. And it just... Now it has sort of like a lateral control thing, and that's just broken. It's just down like that. So I've got to go out and buy myself a new chair for my computer, because I do need to sit at a chair when I'm working my computer. So that's one of the things I have to do this afternoon. Then I have to go out and buy the ingredients for the dinner that I'm making tonight. I'm cooking steak. I'll need to make a mushroom sauce to go with that. I have to cook some fries, or chips as we say here. And I have no idea what I'm going to have as a vegetable accoutrement. Maybe corn. I like corn. Yeah, I have to think about that. So I've got to go out and buy all the things for tonight's dinner. And then I have to do some cleaning up, because to be quite honest, my house is an absolute wreck at the moment. Messy as. Asparagus. Not sure about asparagus. Don't know. Suppose I could probably do asparagus with it. Give it a bit of a char. Yeah. And of course, I also think I'll probably watch a little bit of the grand final tonight, the rugby league grand final. Little bits, but, you know, I mean, I'm not a huge fan, and my team's not in it. So, my team got knocked out. My team got knocked out in the semi-finals. Upset. What sort of accelerator card? 0.5? I am interested in it. I'm always interested in accelerator cards. I love accelerator. Isn't it funny that in the vintage computer sort of like area that accelerators are sometimes getting more expensive than the machines themselves? You know, stupid amounts of money. I wish I'd taken a screen snap of this, but one of the accelerator cards that I have, which is a PowerPC accelerator for an LC475, I saw one of those go on eBay, and we're not talking about what someone was asking. We're talking about what it sold for at an auction. It went for hundreds of dollars. It's just like ridiculous amounts of money. Daystar Turbo 040. Is that the one that goes into the 2CI, the one that goes into the processor direct slot? I've loved to get one of those. That's one that that's on my, wish list. I'd love to have an 040. I mean, I've got a Radius rocket for my 2CI, and it's a 68040 accelerator, and that's great, but it comes into a new bus slot, and as a result, it does some weird shit. There's some strange things go on with that. Whereas the the 040 that goes into the processor direct slot of the 2CI, I think is far, far more elegant. So, grilled shrimp with the steak and chips. Well, now first of all, shrimp. We don't really have shrimp here. We have prawns. They are slightly different, but yeah, we have prawns here. So we wouldn't be having shrimp. We would have prawns. The other is I'm not a big fan of prawns. Don't know why. It's just I try them. I try them quite regularly to see if I like them. There's plenty of things that I didn't used to like that I do now like. Still not a big fan of prawns. I'm not sure if it's the taste or the consistency or something, but just not a big fan of prawns. But I will have an egg on it. So it'll basically be a piece of steak that I will cook very, very carefully and sort of like season and have butter and stuff. Then I'll have a mushroom sauce on that. And then on top of that, you know what I'll put on there? Fried egg. If you haven't tried it, you should try it. With a nice runny yolk. Comes down, and as you cut, the yolk comes down over the steak. Beautiful. The Rocket is really kind of funky. Yeah, well, it does work like another computer. I think you can actually get them to run as a second computer. I think. You put the RAM on the Radius Rocket card, so you know my 2CI, it has like 8 megs of RAM on the motherboard, but then I've got 64 on the Radius Rocket, so that it starts up with the 8 megs on the board, but that as soon as it switches over to the Radius Rocket, it flicks over to the 64 megabytes on the Radius Rocket board, and I think you can even run multiple Radius Rockets and have multiple virtual machines on a single computer. What's his name? Petar. He did that. He had one. I think he had a computer just loaded up with Radius Rockets, and then he had a screen connected to each one or something like that. I can't remember the finer details. But anyhow, Radius Rocket was a very, very lucky find. There was a guy that got in touch with me with a whole bunch of old Mac equipment, and he was just curious about it. And he just sent me a photo, and he said, "How much for this lot?" And I said, "Well, look, it's really hard for me to know without checking, because there could be missing bits inside. These things could be battery bombed. You know, so I think he came up with a price, and it was like $300 or $400 or something like that. It was for 8 computers. And it turned out to be a really, really good deal. There was a Mac 2 in there. It didn't have a power supply, but it did have a Radius Rocket in it. There are a couple of other computers there, so it worked out well. Since then I've bought other stuff from him. Sometimes I've ended up paying him too much for stuff. Sometimes I've ended up probably paying a little less than stuff was worth. But I think it's all swings and roundabouts. It all balances out. As I say, I bought plenty of things from him over the years, and I even replaced a smash screen on his. I think it was his daughter's phone. I think something like that. I used to do a lot of 3D rendering, a lot of 3D work on computers a long time ago. I mean, I still do, but I did a lot more. I did it sort of professionally. And that was one of the things that I loved about multiple processor computers. Even under Mac OS 9, there were computers with multi-processors. There was things like the Daystar that had 4 CPUs. There were some of the Power PCs that had dual CPUs. And so there were these dual CPU Macs. But you couldn't really utilize the dual CPU unless you had a plug-in, like for Photoshop filters and things like that. And for the most part, you really didn't get much advantage from 2 CPUs at all. But you did get an advantage from 3D stuff. So initially I was using software called Strata Studio Pro, or Strata 3D Pro, or something, I can't remember. And then I moved to NewTek Lightwave. And when using those 3D applications, you are really utilizing a second CPU. The moment you hit render, boom, both CPUs straight up to 100%. And it just saves so much time. It saved massive amounts of time. So, who owns the big Daystar quad CPU now? I think it started... Does Steve own it now? I can't remember. I think it started with Sean at Action Retro. Or did it start with Colin? Started with Colin from This Does Not Compute. Then it went to Sean at Action Retro. And I think now Steve has it from Mac 84. That one computer has really done the rounds. Let's see if we can get it sent out here. I reckon it needs a trip to Australia. Okay. Radius Video Vision. I've got the box for one of those, but not the Video Vision itself. Just checking all the chat here. All right, well, I think I'm going to wrap it up now. So thank you to you all for, for joining me today for the live stream. I am very curious to know, before I sign off, sorry everyone, you have to do this while the stream's running. If you do it afterwards, you can't get the detailed information. So I'm going to go here to YouTube. I want to just have a look at the control center. It'll show me how many people have actually tuned in to watch, because I have no idea. None at all. I mean, there might have only been 10 people watching for all I know. I've got no idea. I didn't do much in the way of promoting this live stream, so I never really expect particularly big numbers when I do that. But, is what it is. Okay. There we go. Oh, there's 43 people watching now. That's quite a lot. Thank you, everyone. It's just gradually built up as I've been going. I should keep going, shouldn't I? But here I am, finishing. Crazy me. Okay, so thank you to everyone. So I'll just summarize all this stuff. Thank you to those people that watched yesterday. I apologize that I wasn't able to check the chat. I apologize that I wasn't able to get good camera angles. It was very, very difficult for me. So anyone who did tune in and watch yesterday, I apologize that I wasn't giving it the attention that I normally give my standard live streams. One of the reasons why I wanted to live stream again today, just to remind people that I do read the chat when I can. Yep, in terms of what we did today, this is a recapped Quadra 840 board, which we found there were some pins on one of the chips that weren't making proper contact. So I took that chip off, cleaned up all the pads, put the chip back on again. It wasn't easy. It was an entire live stream's worth of work, because this tiny weeny little skinny pins and the pads were very, very dirty. But we got it done. We got it back on there, and I'm pretty confident that that's all making good contact now. Once it's cleaned, I'll get the zoomy magnifier right up close, check and make sure there are no bridges, check and make sure everything is good, and then we'll test it out. So in my next live stream, I'm actually going to have a power supply. I'm going to put the RAM in it, going to fire it up, and we'll see if it boots. So that'll be something to look forward to. And I'm also going to be doing a live stream coming up soon where I rebuild a 2SI power supply using one of these reloaded boards. So I'll load this up with caps and then transfer all the components across from a dead one, and then hopefully we'll get a brand spanking new working 2SI board, and I'll try not to break things. Plenty of other videos in the works at the moment. I've got one about setting up an old web server. I've got one about building a custom computer. And I've also got to do the next in my series of on-shape tutorial. So that's coming as well. But just as I've said many times, time has been a little bit limited because of the stuff going on with my mother and the care that she needs. But gradually things are kind of sort of drifting in and out of normal. So let's turn this Fume extractor off because I don't need it on anymore. So everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for keeping the chat lively. Thanks for keeping me company while I did this. Hope to see you at my next live stream, which will, I think, probably be next weekend. And I hope you all have a good day, afternoon, evening, morning, whatever it is in your part of the world. And I hope you'll join me for the next one. And thank you, and bye-bye.